and contributor every Tuesday and Thursday here. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning, McGraw. Good morning, Kelly. How
Hi,
is
Tony.
We're doing good. Talk about Baby Hope, because you're getting a lot of attention. That was a nice story about Baby Hope. Talk about that for a moment.
It's my once-a-year happy uplifting column. I've reached my quota now, so back to being negative Nelly. But it's a beautiful, sweet story about this woman named Amber Wankel, who in 1977, August 19th, 1977. was known first as Baby Girl Jane Doe and then Baby Hope. She was deposited at St. Joseph Hospital in St. Charles by a man who claimed to have been flagged down on I-70 at mile marker 224 by a young couple that apparently had a baby, didn't want her, handed it to him. He took the baby to the hospital, and they named her Baby Girl Jane Doe to begin with, and then she was put into foster care immediately. She was just hours old, and the couple that ended up taking care of her for the first 10 months of her life was named Bob and Nella Higgins, and they lived in St. Charles County. And at some point, the Division of Family Services, the Higgins wanted to adopt a baby, and at some point, Division of Family Services either promised somebody else or made a mistake, and they said, no, we're taking Baby Hope, and we're going to have another family adopt her. Well, the Higgins went to court and said, no, we've had this baby for 10 months. We want to adopt her. We want her to be part of our family. And ultimately, the case went all the way to the Supreme Court, the Missouri Supreme Court. And the court ultimately ruled in one of those, sort of split the baby decisions. Well, by the time the case came to the court, she had been with the new foster family for such a long period of time, they didn't want to move her again. And so even though the Higgins were qualified as adoptive parents, and even though they said that the DFS never should have taken the baby away, it turns out Baby Hope was raised by this other family. So she's now 39 years old, and she sent me an email about a month ago and says, my name's Amber Wankel. I was Baby Hope. I just met my first foster family. And, just an amazing story. She was searching for her birth parents. She still has no idea who they are, and may or may not continue the search. She was so excited about meeting the Higgins family, and what she found, and this is the beautiful part of the story, is that they had pictures of her in their house, in every house they had ever owned. They treated her as one of their children, and remembered her all this time, and had looked for her a couple of times as well. And they lived a couple hours away from each other.
Those stories drive you crazy, because why would the state look to cause trouble and not give it to the people who took the baby off the highway in the first place?
Yeah, they never should have, and it was one of those things where one department wasn't talking to another department. There was a bureaucratic snafu. There may well have been something nefarious going on in terms of who wanted to adopt the baby and who knew the right people. It's not clear from reading the old news clips. It's just clear that there was definitely something that was mishandled. Yeah. But she was, as she said at the end of my column, she has two good families now. She lived, for somebody who started her life abandoned. She lived a wonderful life. She's married. She's got two kids. She's very happy. She loves her parents, and now she's got this second group of parents that she plans to continue to have a relationship.
What a great story! All right, that's brought to you by Tony Messenger. That's his one nice story of the year. Explain this. Explain this lawsuit against Nicole Galloway and Rob Schaff. This is confusing. Explain this to me.
Well, it's probably a political attack. It's potentially a very interesting lawsuit as it relates to Sunshine Law. Let me explain it this way. 2 years after the death of Tom Schweik, we are exactly back to the same place we were in the months leading up to his death. We have a nonprofit dark money organization connected to political consultant Jeff Rowe waging a political attack against the sitting state auditor, who may or may not have her eyes set on the governor's mansion at some point. So the organization that filed this Sunshine Law lawsuit is called Missouri Alliance for Freedom. It is set up in the exact way that Jeff Rowe's organization that placed the anonymous dark money ads against Tom Schweik was set up. Same lawyer, same address, same MO. This is how Jeff sets up dark money organizations connected to his consulting firm, takes money from donors, and uses it to make political attacks against people so that donors are not connected. You remember after Tom Schweik died, a bunch of Missouri Republicans stood up and said, we can't have this anymore. One of them was Eric Greitens. Eric Greitens is now the governor, and he is the king of dark money. And this lawsuit has Eric Greitens' fingerprints on it because the two people being attacked are Rob Schaaf and Nicole Galloway, both who have been critical recently of Eric Greitens. The other side of this that's very interesting from a public policy standpoint, which I hope from a public policy standpoint this lawsuit goes forward. I think it's probably a political attack that meant to get a headline so that some dark money group can place an ad in some upcoming election that says Nicole Galloway sued for Sunshine Law violation. But I hope it's a legitimate lawsuit that goes forward because the law firm that filed it is owned by, or is one of the partners is Todd Graves, who is now the chairman of the Missouri GOP. And the lawsuit, the part that is filed against Rob Schaaf, the state senator, challenges the Missouri Republican interpretation of Sunshine Law. As long as the Missouri Republicans have been in charge of the legislature, they have said that individual lawmakers are not subject to Sunshine Law. So I have filed numerous Sunshine Law requests over the years for individual lawmakers' emails, just like the one filed by this organization for Rob Schaaf's emails. And I've always been denied by the lawyer for the Missouri House or the lawyer for the Missouri Senate. The Missouri Republican Party's position, as long as they've controlled the legislature, is that individual lawmakers are not subject to Sunshine Law. Now, the law firm connected to the chairman of that party is challenging that position. So I hope what it means is they've changed their mind and they've decided that once again they care about Sunshine, and this lawsuit goes forward and they win in the sense that lawmakers now will have to be subject to Sunshine Law. I hope that's what happens. I suspect it's primarily a political attack meant to eventually get a headline that will be in a dark money ad in a future gubernatorial race.
Now, you said, I want to clarify this because it's connecting the dots and or not connecting the dots. You said that this has got Governor Greitens' fingerprints all over it. There's a lot of smoke, but there is an arm's length separation between this and the governor, correct?
Sure, that's why they do it this way. That's why the governor is using dark money. On the same day that this lawsuit is filed, the governor's dark money organization, A New Missouri, wrote a $250,000 check to another dark money organization set up identically to this one, probably to fight the petition to try to overturn the right to work law. And so the alliance is obvious there between the two dark money organizations. I mean, you can't, it's not hard to connect these dots. Every dark money organization that Jeff Rowe sets up uses the same lawyer, the same address, the same MO. That's what's going on here. And it's a political attack.
Yeah.
Now, again, there's very important public policy matters dealing with this. And I agree with the context of the lawsuit against Senator Schaaf that state lawmakers should have to individually follow the Sunshine Law. I absolutely agree with the premise of that lawsuit. I don't know the details enough about what the state auditor did or did not respond to.
Right.
I don't have an opinion as to whether or not she's been violating the Sunshine Law. But there is no doubt state lawmakers, Republican and Democrat, should be subject to Sunshine Law. I agree with the premise of that lawsuit. And in that sense, I hope it's much more than a political attack. I hope it's a sincere lawsuit that they plan to take all the way to the Missouri Supreme Court.
St. Louis Post-Dispatch columnist Tony Messenger, Tuesdays and Thursdays here all the time at STLtoday.com. Tony, thanks.
Good to talk to you.
829.